I haven't made a video for a while. I wanted to make a video on one of my healing journeys because I've just healed my gut, I believe. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not even a health care practitioner, but I've always been very in tune with my body, and I've always tried different diets, different protocols and things on myself before I'd ever advise anything. But I'm not giving advice here. I'm just going to share what I went through, and hopefully it can help others. So I reckon about 5 years ago, when I was abseil, window cleaning still, I was really tight, okay? My body was very, very stiff. If you could imagine sitting on a chair and then elevating, just pulling your feet off the floor, and feel how tight that would be on like your hip flexors. Commercial abseil window cleaners, they are in that position for like six hours a day. So over 11 years abseiling, my hips and my hamstrings were just so tight, and I wasn't doing much stretching. I was just doing a lot of meditation. I was drinking coffees. Okay, I just started drinking coffee really late. I think coffee works for some people. I think it doesn't work for some people as well. Definitely didn't work for me. And I remember getting to a point. Also, you got to remember, I was always up on skyscrapers and buildings that had a lot of 4G towers around, and you would feel like, even though they say they have hazard signs on them, you can't stand within 2 meters of them. Even just being around them, I used to feel really cooked. I remember I used to get home from work and I would literally just stop the car, and I couldn't even get out the car. I'd just feel really weird. And it wasn't like it was a very physical job, but it wasn't like a physical tiredness, because I was fit anyway. It was like just felt like I'd been cooked, like literally. Just didn't feel good. But then about 5 years ago, I started going through phases of feeling off. It's the best way I can explain it. I've tried to explain this before, and I can't put my finger on the actual feeling. It felt weird. That's what it felt like. I wasn't in pain. I didn't even have a lack of energy. I had all my energy, but I just felt off in my whole being, right? And this would last for a while, excuse me. This would last for a while. I'd feel off. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I'd feel like that for a while. It would last for like 6 weeks, maybe 2 months of just feeling off. Not feeling sick, just feeling weird. And then it'd sort of ease off, and I'd feel okay, but I was aware of it. I was like, something's going on in my body. So then, when we decided to go traveling in 2016, just before that, I started getting migraines, right? And I was thinking, is it coffee? Because coffee does actually give me a headache. I haven't drank coffee for over a year now. But I was like, is it coffee? Is it this? Is it that? I couldn't put my finger on it. And then when I went traveling, sorry, I keep knocking my computer. When I went traveling, I ended up getting to a point where I was getting, my pain threshold is quite strong, okay? Like I'm quite good with pain. I was having probably, in a 7-day week, I was probably having 5 days a week where I was having migraines that were like 9 or 10 out of 10. Completely wiped me out. Now, my mindset was, and I was eating healthy then, I was eating healthy, I was doing what I thought I was doing, all the right things. But what had happened was the pain of the migraine was excruciating. And I'm talking completely bad, gnarly migraine. But I was at the mindset of, I'm not going to let a migraine stop me living a normal life. So I used to try and play with my son. I'd give presentations, and I'd literally just be like, oh, like not getting. But what was the worst part of the migraine was when you look, and I might be wrong here, I haven't researched this, but when you look at like the nervous system, the vagus nerve, and the energy that goes to different parts of the body, the best way I can explain it is if you've got like an electric current that's going to the brain and around the body, what the migraines were like was I'd keep living a normal life in pain, but then in the afternoon it would be like somebody cut the circuit, and I would literally just get to a point where I'd pass out. I'd literally just lie on the bed in the bus, and I'd just pass out, and I'd wake up, and I'm talking like a sleep that wasn't even like a dream sleep. It was like someone had just cut my connection to life energy around me. It was like someone pulled the plug out, and this just short circuit, bunk, I was out. And then when I'd wake up, I'd feel groggy, headache would feel slightly better. But it was just like consciousness for that hour or two when I was asleep. There was just no recollection. I was just gone. I was just out. And this went on for ages. It went on for over a year. I lived like that for over a year. And I remember, I'm not a dramatic person. I don't like to exaggerate things. And I remember I was like 37 or something. I was thinking to myself, mate, for a 37-year-old guy who eats healthy, who meditates, looks after himself, my focus was always on other people. I was always focusing on how I could help other people, how I could help the world, and I used to just think, just keep doing that, and everything will work out. This is my karma. I totally accepted it. I'm going through a karmic thing. This is my karma, and if I die young, I'm sorry for my mistakes in the past, and please let me be reborn in a place where I can continue serving all beings. That's like my philosophy. And I remember speaking to Danielle, and I wasn't sad. I wasn't even concerned, to be honest with you. But I remember speaking to Danielle, and I said, Danielle, look, you know me. I've never said anything like this. I've never tried and scare you. I said, but I think I'm dying. I said, I actually think I'm dying. I'm 37. I can't put my finger on what's going on. Well, maybe it's 36 at the time. I was like, I can't put my finger on what's going on. I said, but I mean, you've seen how I've been living. I said, I'm really in like something's going on. You know what I mean? And then Danielle actually suggested about the gluten, right, in the gut. And I just had this like download, this insight come to me, and I was like, yeah, wow. Because there's brain cells in the heart and there's brain cells in the gut. And I used to think to myself that I had a solid gut, right? Because, my family are always big eaters. And I used to believe that I could eat whatever I wanted, and I would never have like digestive problems. I was always good in that sense. But I knew that there was the gut and the mind are linked. This is why you have like a good feeling, a good gut feeling or a bad gut feeling. And when she suggested that, I thought, wow, maybe it's something to do with my gut. And then I spoke to my friend in Tasmania who was suffering from silent migraines. She didn't have the pain, but she had like the cut circuit where she would just be exhausted. And she was saying that when the gut is compromised, it actually stops the signals of the vagus nerve. So I was like, mate, why didn't I get on that sooner? So this is what I did. I cut out gluten. I stopped drinking coffee. And then I found out that legumes used to inflame my gut if I had legumes. And I got to a point where I was so sensitive. Friends of ours baked us like a cake or something. And she said that it's vegan and it's gluten-free. And I had some of it. And by the time I'd finished my slice of cake, I just was like, oh, I felt a migraine coming on, and I was cooked. I was in a terrible state. And Danielle said, what was in that cake? And she gave a list of all these things, and Danielle looked at one of them, and she used I can't remember what it's called, but it was like a paste. And this paste was from legumes. That's how sensitive I was. Yeah. So the reason I'm making this video is because I know a lot of people suffer from migraines, so I want to share my story. So then for the next year or so, I never ate gluten, but I personally think gluten-free bread is shit. Right? I think it's not good for you at all. And I started thinking about ways to fix my gut. But I'm one of these people where if I'm cutting out foods and I'm not getting migraines, I still don't consider myself healing the issue. If I was to have a piece of gluten, also a piece of toast or something, and I got a migraine, I haven't healed anything. I've just eliminated what's causing the inflammation, but I haven't fixed the problem. So I wanted to do that. Now, to keep this video relatively short, one insight that I'm getting recently, which I've always had, but it's such a deeper insight right now, is if you take a step back and really observe nature, right, and observe how we're meant to function in the world, how the Creator created this magnificent organism, this biological life, it's making more sense to me now that healing is simple. Okay, my teacher's been saying this for the whole time I've been with him. Da Dao Jurjian, the big way is extremely simple. Ancient Chinese, they say if you can stretch your tendons permanently 1 inch, it will prolong your life 10 years. Okay, so it's making more sense now that healing is about opening up the body. When you look at Pai de Lajin or soul tapping, and what my teacher talks about, it's stretching the body. One of the main Lajin stretches is to stretch your hamstrings and your hip flexors, where I was most tight, because people suffer from bad backs. Not only is there information blockages, energy blockages, and matter blockages. If you're tight in the body on the matter level, you're pulling your skeletal system out of whack all the time, so you have a bad back. So we have to address healing on the information level, which is karma, spiritual level, the energetic level, the consciousness, the way we think, the self-messages we give, and on a physical level. We live in a physical world, in a physical body, so it's important to address the physical aspect. So what I'm getting at is, it makes sense that healing the body would be simple techniques that we can do, like slapping, right? If you do a Pai de Lajin session, a Pai de session, you slap certain areas like your joints to open space. What's happening? Everything is made of information, energy, and matter. Shen, Qi Jing, soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter. So it's basically spirit, consciousness, energy, and matter, right? So if I'm slapping my arm, what's happening? Matter is hitting matter, okay? Is there an energy exchange? Of course there is. Energy is moving, dissipating, right? It's getting hot. You actually increase yang energy. It allows for toxicity to come out. But if I was to slap my arm and I had a negative message, I was chanting a mantra that was like saying, "You're a fool," or something like that, I'd get sick. So intention and message is very important. So if I say, "I love my body, I love my arm, you can heal, I love you, divine light," whatever it is, right? That message is working on the message of the body. So it makes sense that it would be a simple way of healing, right? Stretch the body, move the energy by tapping and letting toxins come out, fasting. But this is the other one, right? I personally believe that if you've got gut damage, let's say you've got some form of leaky gut, there's supplements out there, like they found that L-glutamine is good for healing the gut wall, and maybe it is, right? But I'll tell you what was the tipping point for me. The tipping point for me was urine therapy. I'm serious. And I didn't start drinking urine with the full intention of healing my gut. I read a number of books on urine therapy, and again, like this insight, it came to me that of course healing is simple and we can do it. Of course it makes sense that to drink your urine is beneficial, okay? If you look at, I listened to a podcast with Lineage of Saint Germain, and he got asked about urine, and he said the reason why Tibetan Tulkus and Rinpoches who live in the caves they loop. So they basically drink their urine as it comes out. They drink their urine. They might drink some rainwater as well, and they drink their urine, right? And the reason why some yogis do the same thing is because urine is an alchemical process in itself. It's already gone through an alchemical process. It's been filtered by over 2 million filters. When it comes out, it's programmed to us. It actually turns into ormus. It's not water, okay? It's crystalline. And it has all these different things. I've spoken about urine therapy before. But a friend of mine who I'm going to interview, he was saying that China banned people drinking their own urine, right? Because the Chinese in a lab grew a human tooth in urine because of stem cells. There's stem cells in urine. So why am I sharing this? Because if you drink something natural like that, that's not a supplement, that is coming from you for you, right? And it has stem cells in it, and it has all beneficial bacteria in it, and it has all these things for you, it makes sense to me that that would heal the gut, okay? That would literally give this, and this is just my intuition, this is just through my experience and my own insight. I believe that that would help to heal that soft tissue. You know, Zach Bush says the lining of our gut is half of a human hair thick. It's so thin. So it makes sense that that would regrow or that would heal with something natural like urine, which has stem cells in it. And I'm sharing this because I went from feeling okay because I'd cut these things out of my diet, but if I had a coffee, which I don't really drink coffee, I don't miss coffee, or I had a piece of bread, or I had legume by accident, I had a sandwich, I'd have a migraine, which I'm considered I haven't healed anything. I went from that, from when I was drinking my urine, I went to do a job for a guy the other week who's got a coffee shop, and he didn't know that I don't drink coffee, and he brought me out a coffee. And because it was a kind gesture, I said, I'll drink the coffee with you, I'll have a coffee with you. But I said to him, the last coffee I had was a year ago with you. I said, I don't drink coffee anymore. And I drank it, and I was totally fine, okay? I now have gone back to eating good bread. I believe that if you can stomach a good bread, and I don't eat a lot of bread, but we get like a really aged, fermented, organic sourdough, but I couldn't go near that, right? I can now eat that. I can now eat black beans if I wanted to. I don't eat many of them, but I can literally eat anything now, and I don't get migraines, right? And I believe that's because I've healed my gut. And I believe that, and I know for a fact, the tipping point of healing my gut was urine therapy, without a doubt. Another thing that I've added to my diet since the urine, which I also believe is helping, is EM1. My friend is an advocate for EM1. I'm going to be interviewing him soon. EM1 is basically effective microorganisms. I'm going to let him explain it, but it's basically founded in Japan. It's great for crops. We've actually put it on some of our garden beds here, and the one garden bed that's got it is really flourishing right now. So they're good bacteria, they're great for your microbiome in your gut. And basically I have about 4 tablespoons a day. I just put it in my water, my litre of water, and I drink that throughout the day. And that's been definitely helping as well, but nothing on the urine, okay? Urine therapy has definitely healed my gut. And because of that, I don't get migraines anymore. And honestly, the appreciation, the appreciation for life without migraines is seriously a game changer. It really is. I'm not going back to drinking coffee. I don't miss coffee, and I know my body doesn't benefit from coffee anyway. But I had a coffee the other day and I was totally fine. Yeah, really give me an eye-opener of just, I actually, when I think back of how I lived for over a year, I was like, mate, I tell you what, it was a pretty hard year. Great year, I loved that year actually, one of the years when we were traveling, but I suffered a lot. So if you're suffering from migraines, how I would suggest doing it, because right now I want to try and get my wife onto it, but my wife is just can't fathom drinking her own urine. It's like she's got a very weak stomach, so it makes her feel sick to even think about the thought of it. So if that's for you, this is how I would suggest doing it. I would suggest drinking a lot of water in the morning. Have your morning wee, because a lot of people say to catch your mid-flow wee, your urine, right? But there's a lot of research as well that shows that even if you catch all your urine, the bacteria that's in there is good for you. It's good bacteria. This is why now there's a lot of people who are talking about aged urine. Okay, you leave your urine for 2 weeks and then longer. You can measure its negative ion charge. Its negative ions, which are good for us, go through the roof. Its alkalinity goes through the roof. And there's something else. It's oxygen. Okay, its oxidation levels, its oxygen levels go through the roof. These are 3 things for health. So what I would suggest doing before you go on to all this is I would drink a lot of water so that your urine is really clear. Okay, so you've got your really clear urine, and then I would get a glass of filtered water, and I would drink wee into a cup. I would get a pipette, a dropper, and I would suck up whatever you think you want. Start with 5 drops in water. Okay, so put it into your fresh water, because what it's going to do is it's actually going to structure this water as well. And then drink it. You won't taste it, okay? And urine is not a bad taste, I'm telling you now, if you're hydrated and you're eating a decent diet. If you still can't handle it, you can flavour it. You can squeeze some lemon in there, okay? The sky's the limit, guys. And like, you don't have to be so rigid, you can be flexible. So, and then increase your drops and decrease your water until you get to a point where you are used to the taste. Another thing you can do is, if you're really, 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 really sensitive, is when you have that water, just get a few drops of the water that's just got a few drops of urine in, and just put a few drops under your tongue. Another research with water, okay, if you're really, really sensitive, right, is put some drops of urine into the water and then keep adding water. So fill that glass up, right? And then pour half out and then fill that up with water. Because what water does is, water is so amazing that they found that even if you were to put something, let's say you had a disease, and there was something that would counter that disease, heal that disease, like a herb. They found that if you put that herb into water, even if you diluted it to the point where there was no way that there was any trace of that herb, for example, in the water, that water would still heal the condition, because the water carries the message of it, the memory of it, the structure of it. This is why we need to look after our water, okay? Putting positive intentions on our water. Look at this. This is blessed water. I've just bought 10 of these. Glass, 5.5 litre bottles. They're on the altar. Because Master Shah right now, if you guys are interested, every week he's blessing 5 litres of water with a beautiful calligraphy that is made for Tao water, okay? Danielle's been drinking her Tao water all week. She said it's been amazing. Just drinking the water, it's flushed it out. She said the energy levels have gone through the roof. If you want to know more information on water, read the 3 books by Dr. Emoto. Okay, Dr. Emoto, we all know his work with freezing water and giving messages on it, but his books go way deeper. I didn't realise until I started looking into them again. He shares some epic stuff in those books. But we are water, okay? So it's very important, the water that we drink. And check out Master Shah's blessings for water. And yeah, if you have any questions, if you come across this, you have any questions and you want to ask any questions, please reach out. But yeah, that was my journey healing my migraines. Okay, love you all. Take care.